Hi friends, Laura here with Puerto Riqueño, and today we are going to talk about one of the faves, which is the Latin American sweet pepper plant. In Spanish this is called ají dulce. So ají dulce is really a base flavor of Puerto Rican food. I say everything that, I talk to you guys about is a base flavor, but really and truly I choose things to cultivate for you that define Puerto Rican cuisine. So this is going to grow into kind of a small bush that is going to produce some amazing peppers. Let me show you. This is what they look like, and you may correct me and say, no way, those are habaneros because they look like habaneros, but they're not. They're short and stout like habaneros, but they are actually super sweet. I will take a bite out of them and I will just eat them raw. They're so yummy. They come in different colors. This one actually represents the colors that they come in, so they can come in like an orange, yellow, and a green. Really yummy. This one's starting to get a little bit more red. Delicious. So these are really good, honestly. Like if you just pick them off and eat them, they're awesome. They don't taste like super green or anything. They're good. Okay, so I'm going to tell you 5 things about the plant. We're going to talk about its sun requirements, its light requirements. We're going to talk about how to overwinter it, how to make it survive until next season. We're going to talk about feeding it, and we're going to talk about when it fruits, because it's a stubborn plant. So those are the things that we'll chat about. I do want to remind you guys that all of the things that I talk about on this channel regarding plant care is in the context of growing tropical veggies, fruits and veggies outside of the tropics. So the advice is a little bit different than what if you live in the tropics or in nice constantly humid places. It would be different than probably what I would give. So just disclaimer. All right, so this little plant here, I'm in Texas, and Texas has unpredictable, horrific, or amazing weather. It just depends what hour it is. So this little plant right here, you got to protect it in case it ever becomes awful, in case the sun ever becomes too strong. And here, evening sun in the summer is like living in hell. So you want to put it in a pot so that you can move it around as the seasons change, and also because you want to keep it alive for next season, and I'll tell you more about that later. So put it in a pot. This grows best in a wide pot, say a foot to 2 feet. The wider the pot, the bigger the plant, although these plants really don't get super big. They get kind of bushy, maybe I would say, 2 to 3 feet wide, 2 to 3 feet tall. So don't expect ginormous plants. Definitely put this in a spot where it gets morning sun, since morning sun is a little sweeter, and then put it in a place where it becomes shaded in the afternoons. It's going to grow best like that. So it does like its sun, it just doesn't like its sun too crazy. All right, as far as water, as any pepper plant, most vegetable plants touch the soil. If it's moist, it doesn't need water. If it's dry and you touch the soil, go in a little bit. If it's still dry, put in a bit. Less is more when you're watering plants. If it looks frumpy and you water it and it doesn't get perky, then it needs more water. You're going to get to know your plant according to where you are, what the conditions are, heat, things like that. So there is no perfect formula for watering plants, because I don't know what your backyard is like or what your climates are like. But just definitely, if it feels dry, give it some water, and you're going to learn as you go how much water is enough or too much for this plant. If you put too much, the roots can get grumpy. It can affect the size of the plant. They can rot. It can affect the nutrient uptake, all that. So just really less is more until you get to know your plant really well. All right, so we've talked about sun, we've talked about water. Let's talk about food. When you guys get these plants from me or from most nurseries, they will more than likely have already been fed their first, or for a few feeds already. So when you get them from me, you don't need to feed them for a couple of weeks. I would say right before I sell them, I time it so that I give them a feed before you have to. That gives you time to get to know the plant. It gives you time to study how you want to feed it. But then after that, I would feed it like in 2 weeks after transplant, and then I would feed it again every few weeks up to a month or so, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. You want to feed it things that are good for veggies and peppers. Specifically for peppers would be great. However, if you can't find it, you can also feed it tomato food, and also feed it just regular balanced regular garden fertilizer. So just nothing too straight or too strong. So The other thing too, just to be mindful, is that these plants do need nitrogen, but if you put just nitrogen on them, they're only going to make you leaves, and they are going to get bushy and tall, but they're only going to make you leaves because that's what helps plants make a ton of leaves. So if you want fruit, you make sure that you buy something balanced. All right, so let's talk about how to overwinter this plant. One important thing for you to know is that when it gets cold, a lot of people think that these, the peppers are kind of just annuals, but they're perennials. If you know how to do it, if you know how to overwinter them, you can just kind of cut them here, leave a few ounces, you would leave a few inches, and then take off all the leaves, kind of make it a boring plant, and put it in a place in your home that is not going to freeze, and ignore it. Don't water it, don't feed it, don't do anything until it's springtime, until it gets really warm outside. Then you can put it back out, and you can water it and you can feed it, and if you're patient, you'll see that it'll start to smile again, and it'll give you more leaves. Eventually it'll flower again, you'll get fruit again. So these plants can be overwintered. Next thing is, when do these plants fruit? When are you going to get veggies from this guy, from peppers? They're very stubborn, possibly like the countries in which they're used. We can be very stubborn. So I don't mean to throw in a stereotype, however, it's better than the stereotype of submission, right? So these here will sit around and just kind of cross their arms while the jalapenos and all the hot peppers are producing for you and making them, look amazing. These are just sitting around gossiping, smiling at you, possibly with flowers here and there, and then not fruiting for a while. So it's super normal for peppers that are not spicy to do that, and the ají dulce, the Latin American sweet pepper, is famous for deciding on its time when it wants to fruit. So you just want to optimize that, the time to fruit by good care, good early care. But it should fruit for you, and I'm telling you, it's worth the wait. They're amazing. So that's basically it, the 5 things that I wanted to tell you about this fruit, growing it outside of the tropics. If you have any wisdom to share about how you're growing yours outside of the tropics, please leave it in the comments down below. If you have any questions, do that as well, comment. If you haven't yet liked our channel, subscribed to our channel, please do that, because we're going to be coming out with new plant care videos all the time, and also tips for gardening. And also, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it and to share it on with your friends. We'll see you next time.